What's up, guys? JT Anime Nerd here, bringing you all that nerdy goodness. Today I'm going to be going over my spoiler review of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is also a continuation of my DC Extended Universe / Snyderverse, as Zack Snyder's Justice League is a part of it, as I've stated in the past. Now, I know I'm way late for this, but since I've been doing revisions and original movie videos about how I utilize and continue the Snyderverse version of the DCEU, I also have to take into account the movies that I don't need to change, one of which is none other than Zack Snyder's Justice League. So instead of doing any revisions and rewrites to this masterpiece, I would rather do my spoiler review on it and make it canon to my version of the DCEU Snyderverse. Now that all that's explained, let's get into the review. First, let's talk about the characters, starting with the hero that was least in the movie, Superman. Despite not being in 80% of the movie, you could feel the impact of Superman's lack of presence. His death left a hole in the world, something that Justice League only portrayed minimally. And then later on, when we get Superman back, it feels earned, with him being portrayed as this new unbeatable obstacle for the main villain, something usually given to the villain alone. Also, Superman in his black suit will always be an iconic suit worn by Henry Cavill. May there one day be hope for his return as Superman, for I'm not giving up on him yet. Then we have Batman and Wonder Woman, who are more or less getting set up for their own progression in character development in this story, as it does seem to kind of hold off development of some characters, but does make them essential to the story. We do go through Batman's guilt for Superman's death and preparation for forming the Justice League, but it felt more like a build-up to his future character arc where everyone else around him seems to die in his stead, as alluded to in the nightmare scene at the near end of the movie. Wonder Woman's built-up character arc seems to be her missing Themyscira and wanting to return home. This arc would later be meant to come up in Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. Now we get to Aquaman, aka Arthur Curry, who is essentially pushed into accepting his role as the hero and future king of Atlantis, acting as the gateway to introducing a hidden part of the world, as well as helping introduce his love interest Mira and his mentor Volko. Mira's backstory is known to have changed in this movie, with it being revealed that her parents died in the wars. We also get hints to Orm in this movie, being mentioned by name, but is focused more on the rebels instead of the threat posed by the main villain of the movie. Now we get on to the Flash, who is definitely the heart of the team. Flash is the typical, somewhat optimistic and comic relief character with a tragic past of his own, revealed to be his father being framed for his mother's murder. An incident that led the Flash to act introduces us to his future love interest, Iris West. After that, Flash would show more of his personality in his interactions with the team, and even was able to expand upon how his powers work, especially when it came to manipulating time. This gave us an unforgettable scene, where the Flash actually turned back time itself to save the lives of everyone who would have been killed by the mother boxes. Now we definitely got to talk about Cyborg, whose character was unjustly taken from the Justice League film. I tell you, WB talks about Cyborg as much as the Madrigal family talks about Bruno, am I right? Anyway, I'm so happy we got to see Cyborg's backstory and character arc in this movie, with Cyborg getting to learn how to utilize his powers, even helping a mother struggling financially have enough money to be set for life. We even see the core of his character arc. His father sacrifices himself so Cyborg has a chance to find and defeat the main villain. We also see Cyborg's character arc come full circle when he confronts the spirits of the mother boxes, claiming to them that he's not broken. Cyborg is also a gateway at seeing more of the Justice League's future, witnessing the deaths of Wonder Woman and Aquaman, as well as the aftermath of Lois Lane's death and Superman's corruption, all at the hands of Darkseid, leading to the nightmare future, which also shows us a cameo of Kilowog, a Green Lantern, by the way, and of course Superman holding Batman's mask to signify that Batman's dead. Now let's get to my second favorite character in the movie, the main villain, Steppenwolf. In Justice League, he just seemed like a generic villain with no personality and backstory, and even his design was very questionable. However, in this movie, Steppenwolf is a kind of tragic villain who just wants to go home, but is charged with conquering 50,000 in worlds before or then, until he finds the anti-life equation and finally has his chance to come home and even meet with his master Darkseid again. Before we get to Darkseid, I have to admire how much of a threat Steppenwolf was in this movie, with him easily defeating the Amazons, Atlanteans, and even how much of a threat he was to the Justice League as a whole. The final battle came to a point where the Justice League needed Superman to fight against Steppenwolf in order to pull the mother boxes apart, and if Superman wasn't there, they'd all be screwed either way. Now, when it comes to my very favorite character, Darkseid, he truly shows his presence, a lot more than Thanos has in one movie where he wasn't the main villain. The scene where Darkseid invades Earth will always be an iconic moment, showing characters from the mythologies of multiple heroes coming together to fight back against his invasion, which ended in failure thanks to the antics of Ares, surprisingly. While minimal, Darkseid's presence in the film is iconic and menacing, and the voice actor of Ray Porter will always be our favorite Darkseid, and I don't think anyone can play a live-action Darkseid as great as Ray Porter. Hashtag Darkseid is. Now, when it comes to the minor characters, I'd say they are Alfred, Iris, Ryan Choi, Jim Gordon, Crispus Allen. By the way, Ryan Choi is a future hero known as the Atom, and Crispus Allen is a future hero known as the Spectre, and Desaad, Darkseid's advisor. Now, we also get a cameo of Granny Goodness during one scene, but she never speaks. Now, Lois Lane and Martha Kent are treated as side characters, but are meant to be the gateway into showing a life without Clark Kent, not Superman, and how dark their lives have become since his passing. Surprisingly, it would be Martha's form that would encourage Lois to keep on living despite Clark's death, but it's soon revealed that the person was impersonating Martha and is revealed to be none other than Martian Manhunter. Now, Martian Manhunter is actually revealed to be who General Swanwick from Man of Steel really is. At the very end of the movie, Martian Manhunter introduces himself to Bruce Wayne and becomes a sort of last-minute member of the Justice League. Now, originally we were supposed to see Jon Stewart's Green Lantern and Kilowog at the end, but Martian Manhunter took their place because of studio interference. Yeah, like that's anything new at this point. However, even though the scene isn't released yet, I'm making the Green Lantern introduction scene canon to my version of the Snyderverse, so I hope that satisfies some of you guys. Two other surprise characters we would see, only at this point it wouldn't be much of a surprise due to Justice League. We would see Lex Luthor and Deathstroke meet up. Lex Luthor reveals Batman's identity to Deathstroke, with Deathstroke's intentions seemingly being revenge. This scene would also be meant to lead up to Ben Affleck's The Batman movie, which is actually going to serve as a sequel movie in a Batman sequel movie in my universe. Also, for any who don't know, Deathstroke's full name is Slade Wilson. After this, we would be treated to the nightmare scene, which actually takes place before the nightmare scene in Batman v Superman, where Batman, Mira, Deathstroke, Cyborg, and the Flash would all hide from the parademons, but also end up forming an unlikely alliance with the Joker, once again portrayed by the incredible Jared Leto as David Ayer's darker version of the Joker. Batman is seemingly blamed for the world dying by not being able to protect Lois, leading to her death. But the Joker offers a truce in the form of a playing card and even alludes to his involvement in killing Robin. With all of the tension, the group is eventually found by the corrupted Superman, with Bruce waking up in his penthouse afterwards. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a triumph to both filmmakers and DC fans alike. If you'd like to know more of the story in great detail, I advise you all to give the movie a watch however you can. This movie, even if cut down to 3 or 2 hours, could have done great in theaters, but due to WB executives taking advantage of Zack Snyder's personal tragedy, which I won't get into in this video as I'm pretty sure YouTube has rules about it, this story was not given the justice it deserved. Even now, WBD, despite being made of new executives still won't learn their lessons and just want to exert their sense of control rather than give the fans what they want. I recently watched a video by a YouTuber called Our Movie News. Shout out to him and go subscribe to him if you haven't checked out his content. Talking about the realistic expectations of the Snyderverse returning, and how it being in live action is pretty much non-existent at this point due to circumstances and James Gunn's 4 or 3 year contract. I can't remember how long it's going to last, but I know it's in that range somewhere. I, for one, am going to talk a bit about myself for a moment, and that's that I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to just submit to reality's rules. Reality is that the Snyderverse has no chance of returning at this point, but I'm pretty much sick of hearing how reality is supposed to work anymore. If this world has proven anything, it's that anything is possible, and the impossible is just a limit we set for ourselves. I refuse to back down and believe that the Snyderverse is dead, so I encourage anyone to keep fighting, shouting, protesting that we want the Snyderverse to be restored. At this point, James Gunn hasn't given me a reason to have faith in his Superman legacy movie. I think it'll be an enjoyable story, but the biggest problem with DC, as I've said in the past, is that these days is that they're just enjoyable, not epic like the Snyderverse is. It's up to us as fans, not fanatics, to keep fighting the good fight for the Snyderverse without using extreme fanatic methods like threats or violence. That's not what we stand for. I'm at a point where I don't go to theaters to enjoy DC movies anymore after Henry Cavill's unfair firing. And yes, it was a firing. And I'm ashamed to admit that the best thing we can probably do now is boycott WBD, which is incredibly negative. But what can we do at this point that will make it clear to WB that we as fans deserve to be listened to? If you guys agree with me with everything I've said, comment below #restore the Snyderverse, as well as your honest opinions on how the DCEU has been treated and is being treated as of now. Whether it's a positive or negative opinion, all opinions are welcome and will not be met with hostility, although I can't sadly speak for other commenters. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and put down in the comment section and below on what you think of everything I've discussed in this spoiler review. Also, check out my merch store on Etsy, linked in the description and pinned comment and down below. With all that said and done, I'm JT Anime. I'll check you guys later, and #restore the Snyderverse.